All right, Science 20, we're back. We're going to keep looking at population changes. We're going to talk about the very last item in this unit, and that would be reproductive strategies. So, when it comes to reproduction, we have two types of reproduction. On one case, we have sexual reproduction, and on the other case, we have asexual reproduction. Now, in the past, you probably have been told that sexual reproduction is between two parents and asexual production is just one parent. Well, this one is still true in every case. Two parents, mostly, it is possible for there to be sexual reproduction with just one parent. So we need to adapt our definitions, and this is where we look at the offspring. Now, in the case of in the case of sexual reproduction, the offspring are genetically different from both parents. That's the key word there. They're genetically different. Whereas asexual reproduction means we have parent offspring that are genetically identical to the parent. And so in this case, when we're talking about the difference between the two, it's not necessarily how many parents are involved, although most of the time it's two for sexual, one for asexual. But what's important now is that we expand and refine our definition to talk about how genetically similar they are. If they're genetically different to the parent or parents, it's sexual reproduction. If they're genetically identical, that would be asexual reproduction. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to take a moment and just brainstorm some reasons as to why sexual reproduction is advantageous and what are the disadvantages, and then the same thing for asexual. Take a pause, give yourself about 3 to 5 minutes to come up with some advantages and disadvantages, and then hit pause again and continue on with the video. All right, now be honest with me. Did you just let the video run, or did you actually pause and do the work? Because if you're not going to do the work, you're not going to learn it that well. You're probably going to roll your eyes and make fun of me for not, trusting you. But I've been teaching long enough. I know students, they tend to be lazy. Don't be a lazy student. But here's what we're looking at for advantages. One of the main advantages is we have variation. Having more variation is definitely an advantage because, like what we saw with pepper moths, if there was a change in the environment, that would have led to that could lead to a different trait having an advantage. Let's talk about those pepper moths for a moment. If they were only white and no black ones, when that industrial revolution hit and the bark of the trees turned black, all of the moths would be visible and easy to hunt. So that means their numbers could have dropped drastically, maybe even to the point of extinction. Whereas because they just had that one other expression of the traits, a black moth, some of those moths were able to survive and then reproduce. However, the downside is you need a mate. Now, in the case of flowering plants, you are your own mate. The plant can produce male and female sex cells. There's and they can fertilize themselves. There are some species of insects and reptiles where you can produce offspring without having a mate, and it's still a form of sexual reproduction. But most of the time requires a mate. This is a big thing. Asexual, a lot faster. And you don't need to have a mate. You can produce your offspring all by yourself and be a happy little whatever you are producing offspring by yourself. The downside is, with the exception of mutations. In fact, I just want to write this in here, except for mutations. But with the exception of mutations, you have no variation. So again, if there's a change in the environment to the detriment of your traits, your species might be out of luck. So anyhow, that is everything that I have for you guys, not just in this lesson, but in this topic and in this unit. So you're going to be having your quiz right away, and your unit exam will be coming shortly thereafter. So please make sure you are going through this, asking any questions that need to be asked, and I will see you in the next video.